Welcome to Think Outside the Box, a deep dive. And remember, this one's especially for you guys in Teacher Victoria's ESL class.
Absolutely.
Today, we're diving into a topic that feels like it's straight out of science fiction, but it's actually way more relevant to our lives than you might think. We're talking about companion AIs.
That's right. And we're not talking about just those everyday virtual assistants, like Siri or Alexa. We're going deeper.
Deeper, much deeper.
Into AI that's specifically designed for companionship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So think digital friends.
Confidants.
Maybe even, romantic partners.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
The whole 9 yards. Our source material for this deep dive is an excerpt from an essay, and it's called The Good, the Bad, and the Complex: How Companion AIs Are Changing Human Relationships.
Catchy title.
It is a catchy title, and the content is even more intriguing.
For sure.
We're going to break down the essay's main points and really look at how these companion AIs could revolutionize how we connect with each other.
It's a hot topic, and there's a good reason for that.
Yeah.
Loneliness, it's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
It's a growing issue. And, the idea of having this AI friend who's always there,
Always on call, 24/7.
appealing to a lot of people.
I get it.
But, that brings up the question, is it a good solution in the long run?
Is this really what we want?
That's what we'll be exploring today.
Okay, so let's start with the good. Because, every coin has two sides.
Absolutely.
And there are definitely some positives to companion AIs. The essay highlights the potential benefits for mental health. So think about it this way. What if you're feeling, isolated, anxious,
Totally.
or maybe you just need a sounding board, someone to talk to?
Yeah.
A companion AI is right there,
Right there.
offering that constant support, that non-judgmental space to just let it all out.
You got it. And not everyone has access to therapy.
That's a really good point.
Traditional therapy, I mean. It's not always easy, right?
It's not. It can be expensive.
It can be.
It can be hard to find the right person.
A lot of barriers.
It's not a perfect system by any means.
But a companion AI, that could be available to anyone, right?
As long as you've got a smartphone,
Smartphone, that's all you need.
which a lot of people do these days.
It could be a game changer for people who are struggling, who don't have other options.
Really interesting.
Yeah.
And it's not just about having someone to vent to just listen passively.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these AIs are designed to actually learn and adapt to your personality.
Whoa, really?
Like they remember stuff about you.
No.
Likes, dislikes, stories you've told them.
You really remember.
They remember, yeah, even like your dreams.
Wow.
The essay gives the example of replica.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know a bit about it.
A little bit, just what I've seen online.
Yeah, so it uses this thing called natural language processing.
Sounds complicated.
It is.
Is that what helps it learn?
It's basically a really complex technology that allows the AI to actually understand what you're saying, not just, recognizing keywords.
Mm-hmm.
And then the cool part is it responds in a way that actually feels natural and personalized to you.
Cool.
So the more you interact with it, the more it learns.
So it gets to know you better over time.
Exactly. And then its responses become even more tailored to you.
That's wild.
It is kind of wild, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's almost like having, a friend who truly gets you, but without all that pressure of real-world social dynamics.
I can see the appeal.
Right.
Definitely.
But as with anything, the essay points out there's also the other side of the coin, the bad.
Right. Rose-colored glasses off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because even though these AIs, they can feel like friends, they can mimic emotions.
Oh, yeah.
We have to remember, at the end of the day, they're simulations.
Yeah.
2 lines of code.
That's a good point.
Right.
Yeah.
And that brings up the question, AI can mimic human emotions so well these days, but can it actually genuinely feel them? That's a debate.
Big debate.
That philosophers are still having, scientists are still having.
No easy answer to that one.
And it leads to some really sticky ethical dilemmas.
Sure.
Like, can an AI ever truly replace a human connection?
I don't know.
I mean,
It's a tough one to think about.
yeah, humans, we're complicated, right? We're messy.
We are messy.
We're unpredictable.
That can be a lot.
But those are also the things that make real relationships so rewarding. That's those shared experiences.
Exactly. The ups, the downs, the laughter, the tears. That's what creates a real bond.
Have you ever watched like one of those travel shows about a beautiful country?
Oh, yeah.
And then compare that to actually going there yourself.
Totally.
One is this like carefully curated, filtered experience.
Yeah.
The other one is raw. It's unpredictable.
You never know what you're going to get.
But ultimately, it's so much richer.
It's real.
That's such a good analogy.
Mm.
And it brings up another concern that the essay touches on, which is the risk of becoming too reliant on these AI companions.
Hmm.
What happens if we start spending more time with our digital friends than actual, flesh and blood people?
I mean, it's a slippery slope, right?
It
It's
is.
like we might start to neglect our real-world relationships.
Yeah, those do take work.
And we could even lose those essential skills that we need to navigate those complex, messy human interactions.
They are messy.
They are, but they're worth it.
They are worth it.
And something else to think about, it's the whole privacy thing.
Yeah, that's a big one.
We're basically pouring our hearts out to these AIs.
We are. Like everything, our deepest fears.
Our hopes, our dreams.
All that juicy stuff.
And then it's like, wait, where does all that go?
Yeah.
Who owns that data?
Right.
Could it, be used against us somehow?
It is kind of unsettling when you really think about it.
It is.
We're so used to, sharing stuff online these days. But this feels different.
It does.
It's almost like we're giving a piece of ourselves to these AIs.
It's deep stuff.
It is. And, we have no clue what they're doing with it.
And that takes us to what the essay calls the ugly side of companion AIs.
Okay, the ugly side. Lay it on me.
This is where it gets a little, I don't know, it's a little disheartening, I guess.
Okay.
The essay talks about this idea of the commodification of loneliness.
The commodification of loneliness, that's a mouthful.
It is.
What does that even mean?
Okay, so it's a bit of a complex idea, but essentially some companies, right,
Mm-hmm.
they're kind of exploiting this very human need for connection
Okay.
to make a profit.
So wait, instead of actually helping people who are lonely, they're profiting off of it.
Yeah, that's kind of the gist of it.
That's not cool.
It's not.
Can you give me a real world example of how that would even work?
Sure. So imagine you download an app. It offers you a basic level of companionship, right? Okay.
For free.
Okay, free's always good.
But then to get the good stuff, to get those deeper connections with the AI, you got to pay.
Ah, the classic freemium model.
Exactly.
Okay, so what does that look like? What, you have to pay to, unlock their emotional range?
Something like that. They might say things like, oh, upgrade to unlock your AI's full emotional range, or pay to access exclusive conversations and activities.
Oh, okay.
So they're dangling this promise of a more fulfilling relationship.
Right there in front of you.
Right.
But there's a paywall.
There's always a catch.
Which, to be fair, that's kind of how a lot of apps work these days. But still, it feels a little manipulative.
It does.
Especially if someone's already feeling, vulnerable and isolated.
Exactly. And that brings up another question.
Yeah.
Who's responsible here?
For what?
For making sure that these AIs are actually being used responsibly.
Right.
That they're not taking advantage of people. Yeah, that's a tough one. It's tricky because on the one hand, I can see how companion AIs could be so beneficial for people who are struggling with loneliness, with mental health issues,
Yeah.
it could be such a good thing. But then on the other hand, there's that potential for exploitation, for it to impact our real world relationships.
Yeah.
It's like we're at this crossroads almost with this technology.
We have to be careful.
We do.
Think about the path we want to take.
The path forward.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do we find that balance, right?
Yeah.
How do we embrace the potential good of companion AIs, but also protect ourselves from the risks?
Well, the essay suggests, starting with awareness.
Okay, self-awareness.
Yeah, be more aware of how we're using these tools.
Okay.
Are we relying on them too much?
Yeah.
Are we, neglecting our real life friends and family in favor of these digital companions?
Right.
And, be mindful of what you're sharing with them.
Maybe some things are better left for, a conversation with a real person.
Yeah, someone who, understands those nuances of human emotion.
Who can offer that true empathy.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's on a personal level.
Mm-hmm.
But what about, on a larger scale,
Mm-hmm.
societally? What can we do to make sure that these AIs are being developed and used ethically?
Well, I think we need more transparency from the companies creating these AIs.
What do you mean?
Where is our data going?
Yeah, good way.
How are they using it? And what are they doing to, address the potential for bias, for exploitation?
It's we need to start asking some hard questions.
We do.
Demand some accountability.
Absolutely. We can't just hand over our emotions, all this personal information, and just blindly trust that it's being handled responsibly.
Right. We need to be more proactive.
And we need to have these open, honest conversations about the ethical implications of this technology.
Like, what does it actually mean to have a bond with, like, a digital entity?
Yeah, what does that even mean?
Right.
What are the long-term consequences
So our mental health,
for our social skills?
these are big questions.
They are.
And, honestly, there might not be any easy answers.
Probably not. But we have to start thinking about it now,
Now, before it's too late.
before this technology becomes even more woven into our lives.
Right. It's interesting. The essay makes this point about how these companion AIs are kind of a reflection of our current culture.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's not just about the technology itself.
It's deeper than that.
It's deeper. It's about what that technology says about us, about our desires, our
Yeah.
fears, our vulnerabilities as humans.
It's like a mirror.
Yeah, it is like a mirror. So are you saying that, like, our fascination with these companion AIs is actually a reflection of our own loneliness?
Maybe. And, maybe by looking closely at that reflection, we can learn something about ourselves.
About how to build better, more meaningful relationships in the real world. It's like these companion AIs are forcing us to confront some pretty fundamental questions.
They are big questions.
About what it means to be human.
To connect, the love,
Deep stuff.
deep stuff. And, those are questions that we need to be really thinking about, not avoiding.
Head on.
Head on.
It really is amazing to think about, we're living in a time when digital companions are becoming like a real thing.
I know. It's crazy how fast AI is developing.
It makes you wonder about, like, the future of human connection,
Exactly. And that's a big reason why we wanted to bring this deep dive to all of you in Teacher Victoria's ESL class.
We hope this exploration of companion AIs has been insightful. Maybe even got you thinking about some things you hadn't considered before.
Definitely. And we encourage you guys to, keep the conversation going even after this deep dive is over.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much more to learn and think about.
Yeah.
And if anything we talked about today sparked your interest or, left you with some burning questions, please reach out to Teacher Victoria.
Yeah, share your thoughts.
She's an amazing resource and would love to hear from you.
Absolutely.
And remember, guys, technology, it's always evolving,
Always changing.
especially something like companion AIs.
Yeah.
So it's important to stay informed, to stay engaged with, all the discussions that are happening around how it's being developed and what kind of impact it's going to have.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, let me leave you with one final thought-provoking question to ponder.
I like it.
In a world where technology is becoming more and more intertwined with our lives, what does it really mean to be human?
What does it mean to be us?
Yeah.
And, how can we make sure that technology, that it serves us?
And not the other way around.
Exactly.
Something to think about.
For sure.
Until next time, everyone, keep thinking outside the box.
Keep those minds open.